A quick check now at the starting five for both teams. One of the guys we'll be watching out for today, Chris Paul.
Well, you know, one of the toughest commodities to find in this league, Kevin, is a great point guard, not only on the floor, but off the floor. Chris Paul is a model leader. He's a guy who is probably as talented as any point guard in the league, but his leadership qualities, I think, put him over the top.
You know, it isn't just the inspiration off the court or making big-time baskets. I mean, the way he passes is infectious to his team. I mean, it's contagious, and it usually ends up permeating the whole team. Same goes for his defense. I mean, he'll come up with that big steal and can completely change the momentum with the kind of plays he can make at both ends of the floor.
The Bulls are in the midst of a road trip going into this one. Guys, when you compare their performance last season to where they sit right now, not a whole lot different story. Not necessarily a big surprise either.
Checking out Chicago, they've been playing some winning basketball here in the early going. I like what I've seen. They showed no signs of slowing down from last season.
Well, this is a team that knows itself and knows what it's capable of. They've just got to keep working and continuing to improve.
So the Chicago Bulls able to put up the first points on the board. And let's check up here with Damon Bruce. Damon, what do you have for us?
Thanks so much, Kevin. Let's quickly bring up the scores from the games that already are in the books. Sacramento with a loss to the Lakers out at Staples Center. At Amway Center, the Magic with a win over the Suns. Their leading scorer, Nikola Vucevic. That's all we have for you here in the studio until the Sprint halftime report. Until then, back to Kevin Harlan and the gang.
Always great to catch up on what's going on. Thanks, Damon.
Well, it's an exciting time of the year. This early in the season, we learn a little more about each team every day.
Jimmy Butler was the last pick of the first round back in 2011 by the Bulls. And last season, I tell you what, he really solidified his place in the rotation, guys. He's still developing his outside shot, but he brings an awful lot to light to the table.
How did he get that to go?
Even after the whistle, I like the awareness, the alertness, and the presence of mind to finish the play.
And Griffin, no good on that one. And for Jimmy Butler, what a story. Abandoned as a child, bounced around from home to home. One coach would take him in, another family would take him in. It was a very tough upbringing down in the Houston area. He overcame tremendous odds. And to be where he is today with the great attitude after a short time at Marquette, it speaks volumes of his character.
Well, it sure shows in his play, doesn't it? I mean, just the way he hustles and draws fouls, rebounds, defends. He can guard multiple positions out there. You just love his overall game and his toughness and what he brings to this team.
Now here's Rose, following the miss by Griffin. A look from Rose. The step-back jumper is good.
Tell you what, he is so difficult to guard, especially on a shot like that one.
And now Doris Burke has an update from the sidelines.
I had a chance to catch up with Tom Thibodeau. We talked about the difficulties of facing a player like Chris Paul, and he said that what makes Paul so incredible is his court vision. He explained that there haven't been many players like Paul who can pick a defense apart with both his passing ability and his patience in the offensive sets, saying really, he can just wait you out until he sees a weakness, and that's where he attacks.
Thanks, Doris. Butler kicks to Boozer. The pass to Rose. A feather touch on the finger roll. Beautiful.
Oh, man, he goes old school on us with the finger roll.
Hey, I think we all knew that the Clippers were good last year, but we really took notice when they rattled off those 17 wins in a row in December. That was a franchise record, which had previously been 11, and that's when the league really took notice.
6 to shoot. Los Angeles needs to get off a shot here. Really left alone that time. Dudley's got 6.
That is not enough coverage. Got to do better than that defensively. Basically no coverage. I mean, defense did not look very good there.
Rose attacking, and 2 free throws coming up as he misses that one. Drawing the whistle and a lot of contact there. Well, it was the year of the win streak last season with Miami doing what they did and Denver getting hot as well. But you know, Steve, the Clippers had the first lengthy win streak and turned some heads earlier in the season.
Yeah, what was that, about 17 games in a row they won? And I thought that kind of established the Clippers in the West, put a little fear in the rest of the conference, and gave L.A. a swagger that I thought helped them get through the rest of the season.
Now here's Paul. He had 22 points in the win against Sacramento.
And Kevin, his passing is what blew me away. I mean, to see him orchestrate their offense so impeccably, that was a sight to behold.
Byron Mullins gets the whistle that time. That's his first foul. Chicago making a switch here. Dunleavy's checked in. Heinrich off a pick from Dunleavy. Paul against Heinrich. Ball's knocked loose and taken away by Paul. He feeds it to Reddick. And a great assist by Paul as that one goes in.
Well, once a shooter, always a shooter. J.J. Reddick, one of the great marksmen of all time at Duke in the college game. And it's kept on rolling here in the NBA. He's got deep range on his three. Can spot up and shoot from anywhere. And also put the ball on the floor a couple times and create a shot inside.
Great shot is right. And like you said, not only threes, but Steve, any shot where you give Reddick a chance to set his feet and get a clear view of the hoop. His shot form is just too consistent for him to miss. He is one of those players who works on that just so diligently. You know he's going to find a degree of success every time out there. And taken away by Paul with the lead pass. And Byron Mullins the bucket on the assist by Paul. Mullins got his first points of the game. Last game for Chicago, it was a loss to the Trailblazers in Portland.
But, you know, they don't have anything to be ashamed about from that game. It was a good effort from them all around. They just needed another break or two that just didn't happen.
Yeah, you know, both teams can't win. You know, it comes down to a play or two either way. I thought both deserved to win, but only one could.
And let's take this chance to look at some of the perimeter players who aren't afraid to mix it up in the middle either. These are the top rebounding point guards in the league. Number 1, Chris Paul.
And as you see by his spot on that list, guys, very few point guards in the league can rebound like he can. Very few. He has a knack for always being in the right place when the shot goes up.
And he uses his body like a big man at times. I mean, he doesn't try to just sneak his way into the paint. He muscles his way in and carves out space under the basket. He must have been a post player in his youth.
And here's Collison following Kirk Heinrich's three. Three-pointer. A nice shot by Collison. Collison's got himself going there. His first points of the game on the deep ball. A chance at a 2 for 1 if they want it.
Yeah, no question. If I'm them, I'm definitely going 2 for 1.
Heinrich against Collison. Heinrich dishes to Butler. Shot clock at 6. Gibson. It's rebounded by Hollins. Now here's Barnes. Not a lot of room. Here's Heinrich. He's coming off a 13-point game against the Trailblazers in Portland.
I thought his rebounding was impressive as well, guys. He made some big boards, really helped out on the glass, helped his team out big time.
And that concludes the first quarter of play. Up on some numbers here. The scoring breakdown for the Clippers.
Well, I tell you what, they must have had a good shoot-around because they've been fantastic from long range so far, fellas.
And the other thing they're doing is forcing a lot of turnovers, and that's helping them to get easy points at the other end.
And a chance here presented by Gatorade to see who's on the floor. All fueled up and ready to go for the start of the second quarter. Taking a look at the Bulls. They've got Dunleavy. Taj Gibson is out there with Dang. And there's Jimmy Butler. And it's Heinrich in at the 1. Now let's go to Doris Burke. Doris.
Gentlemen, last season it seemed there was a little back and forth between head coach Tom Thibodeau and the Bulls front office regarding the big minutes he gave his starters. Thibodeau said, quote, "It's never the right amount of minutes. That's the only thing I know. If a guy's not playing big minutes, it's not enough minutes. And if a guy's playing big minutes, it's too many minutes. So you play to win. That's the whole thing. And when you're a young team, guys can handle minutes." But guys, both Dang and Noah missed significant time. Noah only playing 66 games in the regular season. Dang out through the last 7 games of the playoffs. You wonder if maybe they have a point.
They've worked to round out the roster. So that should help those minutes stay down. Second quarter, and we're just over a minute in. Rose against Collison. Stolen by Collison. Up top, Dudley. Plenty of space. Gets it to go. Dudley's got 8. The Los Angeles Clippers coming to this one after the win against the Kings.
And as shaky as they looked in that game, guys, because they really didn't play very well, I thought they showed a lot of mental toughness in order to pull out that victory.
Indeed, they did, Steve. Maybe the shots weren't dropping, and maybe they were a little disjointed and out of rhythm, but the hustle and effort was there.
And he gets off the fast break with a monster slam.
Boy, I love it. Active hands on the steal, active feet on the fast break.
And Clark power on the dunk.
And guys, this is just too close of a game to be giving the ball up like that and then failing to get back in transition.
Heinrich passes to Rose. Rejected by Griffin. An even 3-on-3 break. Crawford, he's covered by Rose. Jordan kicks to Crawford. Good ball movement here by the Clippers. Dudley dishes to Crawford. The kick out to Collison. Gets it to go from beyond the arc. Collison's got 6 points.
That's pretty much been the norm for them. Getting their points off assists and great ball movement.
Nice rhythm and flow for this team. Tremendous communication and alertness.
The Clippers grab the miss. And going against Chicago, their first meeting of the season.
Remember, they won both games against this club last season, which was, I think, one of the highlights of the year.
Right now, let's check out the teams with the best free throw percentage. Number 1, the Bulls.
We've talked about rebounding being a key factor in winning. Free throws and free throw percentage is another one of those key factors in winning. This team is the best in the league at making free throws, and that's one of the reasons they're successful.
Rose passes to Noah. Back to Rose. 6 on the shot clock. Off his leg. And the ref saying he kicked it. Steve was talking about this moments ago about the sweep. Not easy to do, certainly, when you take on an opponent, one you know. And even if it's just a 2-game series like this one is, and it won't be any easier this year, I don't think, either, Clark.
No, it won't. I mean, we can be pretty certain, Kevin, that both of these teams are going to be battling for the top spot in their respective conferences. So the games between them will be hard-fought and tough.
And it's going to be out of bounds. The Clippers will retain possession.
Maybe a low percentage pass, but it still nearly got through.
I like it, though. I mean, it's an aggressive play. Heads up defending to deflect it away.
And in the second quarter, a little under 3.5 minutes played already. Here's Dudley. And Noah with the block. Here's Dang. He had 15 points last outing. Rose kicks it to Noah. Now here's Crawford. The dish to Dudley. Back to Crawford. Dudley with it. He's picked up by Heinrich. Griffin attacking.
Griffin is doing amazing things on the court and off the court. I mean, his charisma and sense of humor really have made him one of the more marketable players in the entire league.
Well, everybody knows around the league that if you get in Blake Griffin's way when he has a head of steam going, you're going to end up on his poster at some point. So since coming into the league, I think he's become as intimidating a player as we've seen.
I agree. It's just not posterizing people either, Steve, although he does a bunch of that. When he gets a steal and has a free lane to the basket on a breakaway, there's a good chance the crowd's going to see a mini dunk contest from Blake.
J.J. Redick's checked in for the Clippers. Boozer gets the bucket. Going back to Griffin, he spent a summer interning with an L.A.-based comedy website I'm reading here. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he has a love for comedy, and, you know, playing in L.A., that's a great opportunity for him to work on the entertainment side of things. And, of course, he does have a real job with the Clippers. He's got to focus there.
He does. You know, but those commercials he's in are fun.
They are good.
Yeah, they're good. And the first time out of the game called for Chicago.
Guys, how about the Bulls being able to nab the 5th seed in the East last season, in large part due to how they were able to play on the road? Of course, when you play tough, solid defense like they do, it makes it easier to be competitive and string together road wins.
And let's now go to the sideline. We'll catch up here with Doris Burke. Doris?
Gentlemen, there's no doubting Chris Paul has always been a feisty competitor. Former teammate Tyson Chandler affectionately called him, quote, the angry little point guard, saying the dominance of his personality enabled him to control his teammates. And Doc Rivers, newly hired as head coach of the Clippers, said he didn't know Chris that well yet, mostly just from breaking up fights between him and Rajon Rondo. He said, quote, the first time I ever touched Chris Paul, I was trying to pull him away from my guy. I like players that have a fire about them, so I've always liked Chris because of that. Kevin?
Well, he'd know. We've seen some real battles between those two, thanks to us. Paul dishes to Reddick. Pass to Griffin. Down to 5 on the shot clock. And it's out of bounds. The Clippers able to retain possession here. 41 seconds left to play here in the half. And for the Bulls, defense is one of the few things in the NBA that can neutralize a home court advantage. And Steve, a big part of why they had the success they had on the road.
Yeah, they went 21-20 away from the United Center, and one of only 5 teams in the entire East who managed to stay above 500 away from home. That's a real tribute to this team and the coaching staff.
And so it looks like the Bulls will retain possession here. Here's Heinrich. He has 5. Off the inbound, no good.
Well, that's a warm-up jumper there. I mean, when you're a pro, you can't make excuses for missing that one.
Paul passes to Crawford. He dishes it to Reddick. Off target from the wing.
That's not a sight you see very often. I mean, he has a great feel for that jump shot, especially when he's open.
And we've finished one half of basketball.